There's a term in French called vin de soif, and it means essentially a wine that is meant to quench your thirst. This is the perfect example of a vin de soif wine. All right, so we have Bernard and Benoit Landron. This is a father-son winemaking duo in the Loire Valley. They're actually located in an area called Muscadet, which is essentially where the Loire River empties out into the Atlantic Ocean. And as you can tell by the label, this is oyster wine. So it's a very interesting reality about winemaking. This idea that what grows together goes together. There's a very interesting concept though to apply that to a mollusk, an oyster, and grapes that are grown on land. And they go together frighteningly well. So oysters are briny and salty. This is not for everyone, which I think is insane. Oysters are one of my favorite things on the planet, but I know some people are like, ugh. This wine, in comparison or additionally, is also very briny and more mineral forward. And when you use that term, and that gets thrown around a lot, the idea is that it's mineral, but it's not so much like licking a stone as it feels like it's electric. And there isn't this huge fruit bomb that comes in. You're not getting these crazy complex fruit notes, but rather it's electric and mouth-watering. It's refreshing. Also, what I think is unique about this wine is that most of the time we talk about refreshing white wines, it's that idea that, oh, I only want to drink this when it's super hot out. But for me, when I think about oysters, I don't necessarily always think of that as a summertime item that I want to eat. I actually think about it all year round. And even when it's really cold out, I still want oysters. In my mind, there is no better wine, not only for a hot day by the pool, but a cold, rainy day when you're stuck inside and you just need something to quench your thirst. Okay, so Muscadet, as I mentioned, is a region, an area where this wine is grown. You'll notice on the label here that it says Melon. This is a reference to the grape variety that is grown in Muscadet called Melon de Bourgogne. It used to be grown in Burgundy, which is another area in France. It doesn't matter, it's now in Muscadet. Fantastic. You will see Melon, the grape Melon, being made in the States. Those wines are very similar to this, very briny, salty, high in acidity, not a ton of fruit, but in the best way possible. So on the nose, you do get a little bit of white flour with this. This is aged for, it says on the back here, this is aged for 6 months in tank. So it's not gonna have a lot of weight. It's not gonna have a lot of texture, but you do get a little bit of that white flour, that brininess on the nose. And really that's the extent. There's maybe a green apple, lemon, but again, it's meant to be very straightforward. And my mouth starts to salivate. I'm ready to drink this immediately when I smell it. And so on that note, let's taste. Totally has the saltiness, the white flowers. There is a little bit of a golden apple quality to this too, which really kind of adds to that texture. If you think about cooking, if you add too much acidity to something, it can be almost shrill. And that golden apple component really helps round everything out, round out the edges so it's a little bit more approachable, drinkable. And this has really great acidity. I am craving oysters. It would go great with any type of fish dish that you can conceive of. White pizza would even work in this instance, or let's say a clam white sauce pasta dish, salads, crudité if you're in that raw vegetable mode. Perfect for the springtime. And I know I like to talk about how versatile wines are, because I think we really start to pigeonhole like this idea that, oh, well, there are oyster shells on the label, so it must only work in that context. But it couldn't be further from the truth. This is a superb wine to drink almost any time of the day with almost any dish that you can conceive of. I hope you enjoy this as much as I do. And I hope you get to at least drink a Muscadet at some point in your life with oysters looking over the ocean. Cheers.